everybody, it's Cinnamon Cooney, your Art Sherpa, and today together we're going to paint a really lovely teapot and teacup with cherry blossoms. This is a very peaceful and calm and harmonious still life, and I felt it was just the painting that we really needed right now. Now, this particular class is a live stream, so I am painting this for the first time here unrehearsed. If you're wondering, this is just me working from my reference photo. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hello.
He's going to make sure that as I'm teaching the class that the camera is pointing at the canvas or zoomed in when that's necessary and that you can see the color mixes and everything happening throughout the whole class. So if you're following along at home, everything is highly visible to you. Now today we are working from a reference photograph, and I always like to say the reference photograph is a guidance, but we don't need to be beholden to it. It just gives us understanding of shape, form, and value, but we need to turn it into art, right? We already have a photograph. We're not trying to make another photograph. So today we're going to create some art with it. Now, if you check the description down below, you'll see a list to the website. There's a link to the traceable. I'm going to freehand this today. We're using the gridding method today. I'm going to freehand today. But if you're like, I don't want to do that at all, there is a traceable down there that you can print out and transfer on, and it's based off the photograph. So it'll be a very tight, accurate rendition of the teapot and the teacup. So whatever works best for you, there really isn't a wrong choice in that area. Everything is totally okay. You ready to go over those materials, John?
Sure.
Sure.
1 second. Let me get you.
Sure. Me. I'm so tiny now. All right, materials. I am working on 11 by 14 canvas today. This is a stretch canvas, and I've got burnt sienna, phthalo green, cad yellow medium, cad red medium, quinacridone magenta, phthalo blue, ultramarine blue, Mars black, titanium white, and right here you see satin glazing liquid. I use this when I want to blend, glaze, or if my paint is drying on me too fast, because the conditions in your studio, they change from season to season. So it's not always the same every time you go in your studio. If you're running a lot of air conditioning or a lot of heating, it can really impact how quickly your acrylic dries on you. Actually can impact how quickly all your paints that are water-based dry on you. So you may find like, well, in spring, I don't need any glazing medium, but in winter, oh, I need a lot of glazing medium because I'm running the heater all the time. So it really just depends on your house, the humidity, your home conditions. And that's why I have that there. I don't know for sure if I'm going to need to use it. I just use it if I find that the paint is, I don't know, just resisting. It's my little nudge to make it go where I want it to go. All right, I
Sure.
think we got the general gist of what we're using today and where the things are. Let's get into step one.
Alrighty.
So in step one, I'm going to mist my canvas with some water because I'm going to paint the whole canvas ultramarine blue. Now you can use your paint just from the palette, and I recommend that. But I'm a silly goose, and I like to paint direct to the canvas. So I'm going to make a cute, fun little graphic here to start out from, and I will use this to paint the whole canvas blue. I can always put more paint on there. I just am familiar with this, so I can do this way. I'm going to use a big brush today too. Take off the extra water, and I'm just going to spread this out across my canvas. Whole canvas needs to be blue. It's just going to be blue today. Ultramarine blue. It can be streaky. All of that's just completely fine.
Ultra. Marine.
Ultra. The Space Marines are ultramarines.
That's true.
My husband's been playing a game called Warhammer 40K with my son recently. And so there's been a lot of Space Marine jokes flying.
It's true.
And my son has started painting the miniatures, and it looks like he also got a healthy heaping of that artistic talent.
I would agree with that.
Super good at it. Really proud of him. Things to talk about while we're painting our canvas blue. Now, kind of like, once I get it kind of spread over the canvas, I'm going to go ahead and just kind of nudging it. Okay to nudge your canvas. I'm just making sure it can have streaks in it, but I just don't want it to be patchy. All right, now I'm going to rinse out my
Makes sense.
brush, and I will put it to the side to wash after the painting session, because I wash my brushes after every painting session with soap and water, because that extends the life of my brush so much.
So much.
So much. All right, now I'm going to want to dry everything.
Okay. Gotta dry, dry, dry. Dry, dry, dry. And it's gonna, let's see. Oh, we got a good question here. Oh, it's a statement. Oh, you're moving all your stuff, Lindsay. That's interesting. Got a whole new art studio. It's always fun to be able to reorganize your art studio and move from one place to another, because you get a chance to sort of reset and begin a new place. And sometimes that can help inspire you to do new things or try new ways. So, take that fun opportunity and go, ooh, is the soap available now? Virgo asks. Well, yes, it is, but only in kits, unfortunately, or fortunately. I'm not sure. We have really good priced garage sale kits where we bundled up all the stuff we could and threw it in a box, and that's what you've got. And it's if you go out and check on the artsherpa.com/shop, you can see all the all the available stuff out there. Okay.
All right, it looks like we will take some
Does that
chalk.
look
So
dry?
hopefully, I think it's dry enough.
Dry enough?
I think it's dry enough. We're going to find out in a second if it's dry enough.
That seems
Now,
good.
a couple of things when you're using the gridding method, if you decide to do this with me, is that you need your canvas to be completely dry and cool, and you don't want the paint to be soft anymore, because as you put in the grid, it can leave indentions of a grid in your painting that you can't get up. But if you wait till it's fully dry and then grit it, then it removes with just a soft brush and a little bit of water, or even your finger sometimes.
Sure.
So that's just really, really dependent. Now I'm going to do this grid. I'm going to come up to the top and I'm going to make a mark at the 3.5-inch place, at the 7-inch place, and at the 10.5-inch place. So 3.5 inches, 7 inches, 10.5 inches. I'm not good at centimeters. I really apologize for that. So I don't know. I could say that it's about 9 centimeters, a little under 18 centimeters, and a little under 27 centimeters. But I don't know how to read their little lines. That's silly, isn't it? That I don't know that. Silly me. That's a thing an adult person should know. But I don't. Now I'm going to make vertical lines. Now, another reason I'm not too worried about this grid is that I'm going to be painting the canvas entirely, again, background to foreground. So this will get painted out.
Right.
That's another reason I'm not particularly worried about it. Oh, this is a Dritz chalk tool. It's like the chalkboard chalk, but in this handy dandy little tool that you can have this little chalk. You can even sharpen the chalk if you needed to. And you can get these at Joann's if you want one, but you could also just use a Cretacolor white chalk pencil, which is probably what I'm going to sketch in the teapot with, depending. So, whichever works for you. I'm going to come to the center, and these marks are going to be 2.5, which seems to be 6.5 centimeters. 5.5, which seems to be close to 14. And 8.5 inches, which is just, I think, almost 21.5. So right there. Hopefully you have a ruler with both so you can see where the 8.5 is, the 5.5, and the 2.5 is. And then come across here, and I'm going to make horizontal lines. Now I've got to flip the T-square because it's not quite the length of the canvas. You can buy them
Sure.
2 feet long, 3 feet long. These T-squares, you can buy them in metal. Some of them are more accurate in their square than others, like a drafting T-square for an architect is a very accurate T-square. So if you're a person who's like, no, I need this to be like to the millimeter accurate and absolutely the squarest thing that was ever square,
Right.
you could invest in a good drafting T-square. I highly recommend getting one if you do muraling at all. It can make a big difference. So what this grid is going to allow me to do is to scale my objects on the painting plane a little bit easier so that I don't make them super big or super small.
Right.
And it also helps me kind of be able to break down a complex series of shapes into their smaller components. So like just the shape of the teapot or just the lid of the teapot. And I can see where on the canvas it is. It's actually quite a useful tool.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to come here and I'm going to make a mark right here and come across and make another little mark right here.
I pushed the wrong button there.
Did ya?
That one. Yeah.
And then I'm going to come here. I'm going to just very carefully make a little smile. You're going to see me nudging this piece a lot. All right, I'm going to bring a little bit of the teapot out. And then down. And kind of follows the little smile down here. Woo! Comes back up. Now I'm going to come this side. And it's the same kind of shape, basically. So there's some symmetry there, right? Now coming off here, I'm going to draw a little handle that comes up. And again, remember, our reference photo is just a reference. We're not trying to make a photograph again using paint. So that is a very cool art skill, and I highly admire the people who have it. It isn't what we're doing today. Today we are painting.
Right.
And making a painting based on this photo. I'm bringing this around here. When I have my little ear, then I can kind of come in and make a believable handle from there. Also, I didn't send this reference photo home to your friends and family, so they have no idea where you started from. And you don't got to report it to them. That's not a requirement. Sometimes I think artists are a little bit too like, oh, it's not as good, or I was trying to do this, but this happened. Instead, just let people take in your art for what it is. You know? The best laid plans of mice and men, my friends, means that sometimes when we're painting, what we intend to do becomes something else. I'm going to bring a little lid up here. This is a little bit below that. Maybe I'll make it an ellipse-ish. And I'm going to come here and arc a little lid up top. A lid, lid. Lid, lid, lid. Working on my symmetry. Ceramic artists are amazing in how they create balance in their work. you've ever done ceramics, if you haven't done ceramics, I highly recommend it. Sometimes they have these businesses that will let you come like throw a plate or throw a cup or throw a bowl,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll fire it for you and you can glaze it and everything. And I highly recommend doing that.
Oh, I thought
If
you were talking of like one of those rage hotels where you go and throw the dishes on the wall.
well, no, that's just a hotel and you get fined for that. You mean the
No, no,
rage
they.
rooms.
Oh, rage rooms. Yeah, that's what I meant. Is like where you go in there and you.
Don't do that at a hotel.
Well,
That's a
they.
crime.
I thought they were hotels that you paid to go to that were specifically for that.
No, I think some rock stars think that's true though.
That may be. They don't go to the rage room where you just break. See, when you said throw dishes, I was like,
I'm gonna start at the little line here. I come up, just bring my little teapot spout up here. Comes across level. Back into the little teapot.
yeah,
Now, over here, I've got to figure out my little cup. And this is going to be in the ellipse. So this is where my challenge is. Ellipses are a challenge. Little squish circles. I think I need to be higher up. See, this is why chalk is nice.
as you can erase.
Because you can erase and just change your mind and be like, no, I think this needs to be higher up. I think what I'm going to actually do is start my teapot down here, my teacup. And then ellipse it from where I bring the rise of the cup to.
Yeah.
And that's going to give me a better result. Yeah. Unless you're doing very famous porcelain,
Mm-hmm.
china, that kind of thing that people know, like they know that china, you don't have to be too worried about being exact. You just want to worry more about getting a good ellipse going at the top of your cup and having a nice little saucer and a nice little handle.
That makes sense.
I'm going to come here and my little ellipse is going to come out a little bit wider. And
Contemplating the line.
yeah, the line is something that you do got to contemplate. What's wonderful is there's flowers here kind of really covering this whole area, so we don't have to be that perfect over here.
Mm-hmm.
But on the left, we kind of want to have it as good as we can. So I've got a nice thick little ridge here. Okay, and then we'll want a little handle. Similar deal to the teapot. It's very nice that their handles are counterposed opposite
Yeah.
to each other. That's a very nice still life arrangement. One of the things that I love about the still life and the reason it's so calming is it has harmonious colors. Those are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. It almost has a little bit of monochromaticness about it because there's so much blue or blue gray throughout it. Like we really only have pink um, as kind of an accent color in the flowers, and we'll lean more into that pink. But the blue and the grays and being so predominant through the whole piece really just keeps it peaceful.
Hmm.
And with the world being so intense right now, it's nice to have a little bit of peace in our studios.
It is. It is very nice to have peace in the studio.
Yeah. Can't control everything, but you can control the peace in your studio. And that can help with peace of mind. It's like no joke being an adult.
Yeah.
Actually, it's not. It's pretty hard to be a kid these days, too. Hard to be a human being. And if I'm happy with that, then I'm going to do one more little line here.
What what hoot do you think this would be?
Hmm?
What hoot? What level of skill do you need to accomplish such a painting as this?
I think with this, if you're doing the traceable 2.5 hoot,
2.5 hoot.
yeah, if you're going freehand, it's a full 3 hoot because it's a 3 hoot for me when I'm going freehand. It just does make things a little bit harder. Now I'm going to come here and drop down my little horizon line a little bit. And I'll draw that in. So when I go to paint it in, that it's nice and straight. When I go to paint it in. Well, we worked really hard here sketching this in, didn't we?
Yeah. Got it all there.
We got it all
You're
there.
gonna do your little planty things poking in?
Those will freehand in.
Okay.
Put those in a very painterly way. I don't know, I have a process or method that I like to paint that type of flowers with an angle brush.
Yeah.
And that's, kind of like something that you do as the technique on the fly. Technique on the fly. Ookity dokity.
You think you're ready for your next step?
Yeah, center back on my painting and take a look at that. Yeah, I feel like I'm ready for the next step.
All right. We'll just go magical step.
Step
Graphics.
3. Step 3 is for you and me. So now we have to paint the whole background. A thing that we can do now that we have everything sort of sketched in is I can take a brush with a little bit of water on it and go ahead and erase all my lines that I don't need anymore. And if your painting was dry, it'll come right up. And between doing the brush erase and painting in the background, all the grid will vanish.
Ah.
Leaving me with a fairly nice line drawing. That's looking pretty good.
Yep.
Okay, I'm just going to take the same brush. I might size up to a bigger brush, but I think I'm going to take the same brush and I'm going to mix a little bit of my ultramarine blue and my phthalo blue together. I'm going to grab a little bit of my titanium white. I'm going to come here and start painting in my background. I'm kind of working at an angle. My background underneath is blue, so this is going to stay nice and blue. I'm having a little trouble getting the paint to spread out. I can grab some glazing medium and it will improve the flow on my paint.
Yeah. I like that angle.
Yeah. A little bit of ultramarine blue, a little bit of phthalo blue. Mix them together and makes a nice midway blue. And just come in and paint this fussy around the teapot.
Yeah.
This is one order you could do this in. You could also paint the teapots first. And then paint the background. It's really just up to you. A little mid-mix between ultramarine blue, phthalo blue, a little bit of white into it. Now, sometimes when you have a big area to paint like this, it can be easier to do it with, mix up a bunch of it with an artist knife. And then, come at it. A little bit darker on this one, and that's okay. I'm going to paint inside here.
You're trying to keep all those lines the same direction.
For the most part, but I don't have to be too overwhelmed with it.
Right.
Right? I will kind of create a general motion with them, but I won't be super overwhelmed about it. I'm going to take this and I'm going to actually come over here because I want the same kind of color to be down low, and then I'm a little bit lighter up at the top. You can see how I work it around and then I kind of start getting it back into its directionality.
Yeah.
Do we have any questions while we're doing this long job of painting it in?
That's what I was just over here scrolling up to see. I have different glasses on than I normally do, so it's harder to see the chats unless I get my thing. Were you using a Dritz chalk tool?
I was using a Dritz chalk tool. I use the Dritz brand. I don't use the knockoff brand because the knockoff brand is a little waxy in the clay.
Uh-huh.
I think they use a different binder and it doesn't wash out or remove as easily. The Dritz chalk tool is made for tailors, so it's so you can mark up fabric and then wash the fabric and it vanishes.
Yeah, the chalk really dissolves very easily.
Now I can get a little more white into here. Plays liquid if I need it.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I pre-paint and then, we record it and so you guys just see the painting. But I do like it when we work from a reference photo every once in a while and convert it into a painting so you guys can see how that process is, because I know you guys all have photos that you want to paint.
Right.
Understanding that, you make a traceable for yourself using the structural lines of the subject matter. Seeing how you can paint it in, but you don't have to try to just make another photograph. Those are important things.
Now, if you wanted to just paint the background all the way in first.
The ground is very light and it would be hard to sketch into it, which is why I didn't do it. The camera wouldn't be able to see it. But as long as you could see it, that would be fine. Sometimes I have to not just paint for you guys, but I also have to paint for what the camera can see.
Right.
And honestly, what I can see, because I'm, I'm a summer chicken, maybe an autumn chicken. I feel like a spring chicken on the inside, but you know,
I feel that way too.
I recognize the progression of time as a reality that I
It
must contend
happens.
with. Time happens. You can see I can use, oh goodness gracious, I'm using a 3/4 inch angle brush. This is the Catalyst Princeton Poly Tip brush in short handle.
Mm.
And we do have them available in our store if you're looking for one. Make a slightly lighter color and kind of come in here. And bring it up here in the upper right a little bit. Kind of is a little bit of light. Now, one of the things I have to watch for, and I'll talk to you about this, is I didn't have any 11 by 14 art alternatives, which is my preferred canvas, and the classic cotton.
Uh-huh.
And one of the reasons that I like it is it has a special sort of raised ridge on this outer edge so that your brush doesn't touch the inner stretcher bar. And one of the things you have to be careful of if you're painting an economy canvas is watching for that stretcher bar to leave a ridge as you paint.
Okay.
Just a thing to think about. I've got some more art alternatives coming, so I'll be back to my favorite canvas in a second. And if you're, what is my favorite canvas right now? It's the Art Alternatives Classic Cotton. And you know it is because like I've
You use
turned
it all the
down.
time.
I use it all the time, and I could use other canvases. People would send me anything, and I still pick it. I just really like the tooth. It's got a great tooth on it. Sketches really well, and it has that wonderful stretch to it, so you don't get the ridges. Just thinking about it. That's why I'm having to go back here and work this so hard, because the ridge wants to pull paint.
Ah, that makes sense.
Just something to think about. A little bit of a painterly light up there, and then the blue and the blue, so everything is blue. I see a little spot. I've got to kind of didn't have any paint. Sometimes you have to watch those little spots. And if you want, you can paint the sides of your canvas. That is totally allowed. Some people do that instead of framing, and that is now pretty much standard in art. And it used to be really unusual to do that. That was something only painting parties did, or professional artists if they had the big, thick stretchers where you couldn't really frame it. But it's just become such a norm now that that's just very typical. So you just paint the edges and then you don't have to frame. All right, let's dry this though thoroughly so we're not putting our hands in wet paint.
Alrighty. We can totally dry.
Dry, 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 dry.
Dry. So, thank you guys for coming and checking out the show. We love seeing everybody in the live. It's really great to have you guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, push all the little buttons that are down there below. There's all sorts of cool stuff on our website in the for sale shop. We have these garage sale kits that have our soap in them, and those are available right now. Probably very soon we'll have announcements on the individual bars of soap. Those are a bit more complicated because we have to get some packaging, and we may have to coordinate with warehouse stuff, because to ship them directly from us and not ship them from our warehouse would be a very expensive thing because you would have to pay individual shipping from here. You wouldn't be able to get it from anything else. So we're working on getting them into the warehouse so that they can be combined with that, and we'll let you guys know how that goes. I suspect that we'll have news on that soonish. On when we're going to do the individual bars in our warehouse. We got to go through the process.
Okay, I tell them we have a stamp with my branding on it so we can stamp the soap.
Oh,
and
yeah,
I really hope
that's
it
right.
works because I'm excited about it.
That's right.
We all like words in the soap, which will wash away the minute you wash your first brush, but still really cool. And I'm excited about it. And if you're just like, I have to have it right now, we have a garage sale kit going on. That's very nice. It's I end up with just tons and tons and tons of art supplies. And so we're doing a D-stash.
Yeah, we have to
all brand new in the box art supplies, like crisp, brand new, perfect, amazing art supplies. But in the past, I have been gifted or rewarded or have purchased large quantities for retreats or what. It's however come into it.
A lot of this is overage from retreats or experiments that we were going to do. We have small kits. Actually, some of it was product that we had purchased to do kits with that never happened.
Yep.
So a lot of the watercolor stuff, there's some really good, there's some good stuff out there.
Yeah.
Because these
it's got the Viviva color sheets in it, right?
Yeah, it's got the watercolor, the Viviva sheets, some really nice brushes, acrylic paint, some surfaces. It's like pretty much everything you'd need to get going. But anyway.
I think it's very cool.
It's very cool.
It's very cool.
There's a step.
We'll
stop selling.
Yeah, let's stop that. I'm with you there. Our hustle game is not great.
What's that?
Our hustle game is not great. I'm going to take a little phthalo blue.
All right.
And maybe some ultramarine blue and bring it over to my Mars black and create a blue black. I'm going to wipe my brush off so it don't have so much extra paint on it. And let's come here and make a little bit of a gray. Might need more black than that. What we want is a gray that has a bit of a blue cast to it, as you might have from time to time. Maybe a little more weight. Good place to start. And let's come down here and paint the table gray. Now I'm going to be real crisp using the edge of my brush. I'm still in my 3/4 inch angle brush by Princeton. I am, by the way, not a Princeton ambassador or anything. I'm just letting you know the name. I try to let you guys know the names of the brands of my brushes. I am a Raphael ambassador, but I'm not a Princeton ambassador. I just like these brushes. So they get some of my love. Just come here. Yeah, I got a little red going on into it. It's okay though. And I'm just going to try to very carefully paint around what I have here for my teacup. Now, what's great about this area, if it goes wrong for you here, is that we've got a bunch of flowers right here.
You're just trying to keep this all horizontal here?
Yeah. Ooh. Uh-oh. Kind of put that little out. I had a boo-boo there, and I got to take it away and put it back. There we go. Play around with that. And we just have that there so that you can peek around the flowers and see the back line. Just brushing that forward. Now I'm going to add a little more white into this.
Give it a little highlight.
Yeah. And then on the forward end of this, we're going to kind of highlight the, let's get some glazing liquid into it so it flows off our brush. Leave it a little bit darker towards the back. A little more white.
I have to say, it's so nice to see everybody here in chat today. We have
Yeah.
a really nice crew of people. It's nice to see everybody here again.
It's lovely.
Really, really nice.
All right, so now we have a little bit of a ground for our objects to sit on. So let's dry everything with our hair dryer. And when I come back, we'll rock out what we're going to do next.
Okay. Let me see over here, guys. Thank you again for joining us here. If you go to our website, or if you click on the channel face button, you can see that we have a lot of upcoming lives here. We have them on our calendar on our website. There's a couple of ways there that you can find them. We do this pretty regularly, and you will see that we have a lot more of this coming throughout the holiday season. We're going to look forward to seeing everybody on those. I don't really know what days we have up this week because I haven't looked at the schedule, although I do know we have a bunch of them up. Cinnamon posts all those, so I don't always track
For what?
What videos are coming.
Well, this weekend we are doing our What Happened to Us with the Hacking video.
Oh, yeah. That'll be interesting.
Yeah, we're going to let you guys know how it happened.
How?
What happened?
How?
And how? How on earth did they get past all of our stuff? And what we can share, our lessons learned from the experience. Now that we have our page back, I can talk about it. Couldn't have talked about it before the page got back, man. That was really scary. All right, so now I'm going to want to work on the teapots, and I'm going to start kind of painting in. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a number 4 Texture D brush. Now, this is a brush that has a filbert side, which is that kind of curved side. So if you had a filbert brush, you could use it right here. And it's got kind of a rounded blending side. I'm mostly going to be using the flat edge here to get crisp edges, and then I'll blend with that. You could use a bright or an angle here as well. So I'm picking a brush that has sort of a tight personality, right? It gives a crisp line when I want it to, but I like that it also blends, and I'm picking it in a size where I can do sort of like more little details than I might do normally. I'm going to take a little bit of my ultramarine blue down to my burnt sienna, because the teapot's going to be in a combo of these two. And I'll first mix a gray that's more blue than burnt sienna. Mix up a good little amount of that. And then I'm going to do an interesting thing. Underneath the handle, I'm going to add a shadow coming up on the curve. Then to the back end of the handle, oh, that's me. Probably spam. Spam loves me. They call me all the time. And then I'm going to bring that down. I'm going to come under here. Kind of up that side a little bit here. This is sort of my darker shadow. Maybe a little bit under the little bit right here. And some right here with a little bit of a curve to it. It's looking pretty good. Now I'm going to get a little bit of my white over here. I'm going to make a nice cool gray. If I need to get some glazing liquid, I will. That just improves the flow of the paint off of my brush. Maybe a little more gray into it. Just come along with a little bit of the gray. And again, don't be too stressed there because we're going to have flowers in front, right? A little more white. A little more glazing liquid. And I'm going to think about the shape. I'm going to come here and have a little bit of a blue gray. A little bit of my handle. And back towards this part of the handle. Bring that around. Always add a highlight to the top of it, so I may for smoothness and continuity of my handle. I'm going to come and get a little bit of gray, a little bit darker. I'm going to come underneath here. I can always get my darker. And just make a point of blending it. Darker. Little middle gray. Maybe a little bit on the top here. Can always highlight it. I'm going to take a little bit more brown into this. I'm going to squish out my brush into the paint so that's pretty light. And I'm going to grab a little bit of white and make an off-white with the brown gray. So this would have a little bit of ultramarine blue, but way more burnt sienna. I'm going to just go ahead and start to paint in that second value on my teapot. I use the flat edge to kind of bring this down. So like whatever, if you're using an angle brush, use your crisp edge. If you're using bright, you want to use the crisp edge of the bright to just get some glazing liquid in there. Again, we're just doing the first layer. And there's much more to do here, so don't be worried about your painting's awkward stage. It's going to have an awkward stage. When we're laying in layers, especially when we're going to paint kind of expressively like we are here, and you're putting in layers, it may have a few transitional moments for sure. Okay, I'm going to try to be as crisp in here as I can. Just painting that in. Now on this teacup, I would not have an easy time using this brush. I'll probably have to size down to either a 1/4 inch angle or a round because it's much tinier. You want to pick a size of a brush that doesn't make you work too hard for everything, but also is small enough, big enough to keep it short work, but small enough to make the work easy. Come on either side here. And hopefully we're starting to see the teapot come into focus. Now, I'm going to just do the top with the light color, even though it's going to have some shading and everything at the lip and all of that. Because this is the underpainting of the teapot. One of the first things that you as an artist, when you're thinking about painting from your own photographs, is that you can get caught up in trying to paint the realism of the photograph. And that will lock you up in the painting. So instead, you want to kind of paint the moment of the photograph. You know, like you captured a moment where right before the tea was poured.
Right.
And that's much more emotional and ephemeral than trying to do extreme realism. I'm going to go ahead and kind of come to the top here. I'll come to the bottom here. Just kind of thinking about how that goes. And I'm going to get a little bit of my blue into it, my blue-gray, make a slightly lighter color. I'm squeezing out my brush there. Let's put a little bit of a highlight right there. Okay, that's an underpainting of a teapot. That's
pretty good.
Dry that.
All right.
And then when we come back, we'll work on our teacup.
That seems like the good next step.
It's a good next step.
All right. So while we're doing that, I'll ask what brush that was in just a second. And we'll get that for you, Bella, here after we do the little hair drying break. And if you need to, take a moment, stretch, walk around, look at your painting. You can always hit pause and come back on us. We'll be here waiting for you endlessly because time has no bounds once we are recorded. Wah-ha-ha-ha. We're trapped here in space. Rewind, come back. We're here forever. Well, I was just saying, if you have to pause and walk away, they can come back and we'll be here.
It's true. That's super duper true. I'm going to grab a round brush. I'm going to grab a number 6 Raphael Sepia round. Raphael is the brush maker, and Sepia is the line of the brush. The number 6 comes with a second, smaller little detail round.
What were you
Generally,
What were you using right before the break?
hmm?
What were you using right before the break?
right before the break.
Yeah,
Oh, what break?
right before you hair dried.
Before I hair dried is the number 4 Raphael Texture de Brush,
Okay.
brush. But you could use a little angle brush just as easily, and I will get into my angles, right? You could use a round brush, so know that you can use. You're not just stuck with. Oh, here's the other brush that generally comes with it. So then it also comes with like a smaller brush. They come in a little 2-pack. And if you're lucky, sometimes they come with a little square brush. So it just depends on which pack you get.
Mm-hmm.
But I love the number 6 sepia round. It's a helpful brush.
Helpful.
I'm going to get a little bit of my burnt sienna and my ultramarine blue together again and make that kind of blue-gray. Load up my brush, and I'm going to come into my lips. This side, I'm going to get a little bit of that dark color in my lips. And then right here, and then I'll come around the back side. It's just like the teapot handle. Let's bring this up this side. Maybe a little more blue-gray. I just move more into my white. Glazing liquid if needed. Just a little bit of that there. Quite dark underneath. And then a little more white into it. Maybe a little more blue even. And paint in the inside of this lips. And a little bit right here. A little bit right there. I'm painting that little lips there. A little bit of that blue-gray. A bit of blue-gray right here. We're going to have flowers over that, so don't be too stressed about that side of the lips. Don't paint the best side of the lips ever in your life on that side. I'll rinse out a little bit. I'm going to get a little of my brown white. Painting this in right now. And then on the inside. And then a little bit of the brown and white on this outside lip. I'm going to get a little bit of my lighter blue-gray.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to come here and a little bit of a highlight there. A little bit. Back into my light color. Come along the lip of the cup. Okay. So we have the roughed in teapot and the roughed in teacup. And we want to dry everything.
That makes
And
sense.
then when we come back, we'll take some questions and continue into our painting journey that we are doing today on our lovely day.
All right. So, you guys heard what she said. We're going to take some commercial or some questions after the drying session here. So, she'll dry, take a little break, we'll do a little stretch, watch the paint dry a little bit, and then I'll ask all the questions that come up in here. So if you have any questions, you can throw them up in caps. I'm going to scroll up and make sure we haven't missed any here. Looks like you guys have been having a pretty good time just chatting in here in group. She's coming over here. Looks like everybody has been just chatting away here with each other. They're having a nice time.
Well, I love it when you guys are having a nice time.
Mm-hmm. So, now you saying these are roughed in or finished?
Roughed in.
Roughed in.
These are the painting sketch of a teapot and a cup.
All right.
We have some little value notes that we made. These are almost like notes. I made a little note that there's some shadow over here, and made a little note that there's some shadow over here, and I made a little note that there's some highlight over here, and I started to talk about that it's brown and white and blue-gray, and that there's deep shadows here at these outer edges, like just sort of talking about it. So when I get into painting it, I have these as my notes to keep me anchored into what I'm doing. Now, if I just left it here, that would be a very rough painting.
Sure.
But we're not going to just leave it there. Alrighty then. Are we ready?
I think so.
Okay, I'm going to take a 1/2-inch angle brush. Alrighty. Now let's bring a little bit of the brown over here. And even a little more white. There we go. So we've got some nice little values that we can mix through. Glazing liquid today, because the paint is asking for it. And I'm going to come here and start to paint this part, the front. And one of the counterintuitive things is that there's actually a lighter value here and a little bit slightly darker gray at the top side of the spout. And that is about cast shadow.
All right.
Does this cast a shadow? And I'm going to come into my blue-gray. I like to kind of squish out my brush.
Now, do you have a video where you talk more about the painting in the moment versus photorealism?
I did a whole acrylic April about it, which was a 30-day painting challenge, and we painted very loosely and immediately. Most of the lessons are not more than an hour, and they're quite beautiful paintings.
Which one was that?
2020?
Was it flowers, abstract?
It was before themes. So we
Oh.
did 2019, which was the crazy acrylic April year where we were like doing value studies in the evening and painting stuff. And it was just wild, right? And just rough from photographs and all of that. Then 2020, we did more expressive kind of daily painting style of painting.
Mm-hmm.
And that one actually went really, really well. I'm going to come here and kind of with a little bit of the lighter gray up there. Now I'm going to get a little bit of my darker gray and kind of work it into my brush. Put that down here. A little bit in this crack right there. Bring that up here. So yeah, I do have that. We talk a lot about that, painting more expressively. And it's 30 different paintings. It's the one that ends in the beautiful sailboat
Mm-hmm.
that everybody then painted. But it's the one that ends with a beautiful sailing ship.
Yeah.
And come here and add a little more white to my color. A little more brown. It's creeping up my brush. When your paint starts creeping up your brush, it's a good idea to take your towel and kind of wipe it.
Right.
And I'm going to kind of dry brush this back so this is a little more subtle. So still very painterly, but just a little more subtle. I'm going to get a little of my gray here. I'll come to this back side. Brush that up.
Mm-hmm.
A little more white. So sort of like a softer little range of gray.
Mm-hmm. Oh, thank
We're
you
just
for.
working through here.
We had a moderator drop that
Oh, thank
link
you.
there to it. Oh, I remember this. This is a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah, we need to. Yeah, we'll go back. This I don't think has been turned into a book yet.
No, it's the first book we had.
Oh, is it?
Yeah. So there's a book that matches the whole course.
Okay, I'm just going through. I'm like, wait a minute. No,
there's a book that matches the whole course. John is correct. I forget that sometimes, but there's a whole book. There's 3 books on Amazon.
Yes, there's 3 books on Amazon that you could get that match
Yeah.
the acrylic Aprils.
Yeah. There's Bloom. There's the first one, the one I'm talking about, 2020.
Yep.
Then, and we really just had a blast in that. And then there's the Abstract, and there's Bloom.
And we got more of those
We just
lined up.
we're waiting on the Wave and Land, and was a class about water, all the different ways that we see water in landscape and location, and so it was a whole study of water. So see how we're kind of like blending a little teapot there, blend a little teapot. Let's come here. I'm just using my 1/2 inch angle brush. Get a little bit of that kind of gray color here. Ooh. And I may switch to my round brush now for the remaining bits because it'll make it easier for me to paint them. So always feel like you can switch a brush if you need to. I'm going to switch into my round and get my light color.
Man, I've watched you paint. Sometimes you're like, no, we're going all the way with the one brush.
Yeah, I do that sometimes. It's true.
I will not change brushes.
No matter. Well, you can do that. You can paint an entire painting with one bright.
Yeah. I think it's funny when you do that, though.
You got to do what you got to do.
That's true.
I'm going to grab a little bit of this kind of middle gray. So I'm just trying to come through here and find the different values, right? Come back with some gray here, I think. Some darker gray. Blend there. And we're just going to really darken that there. And back into the slightly lighter color.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll get into our lighter color and come here. The top of the handle. The inside line of the handle. Let's get back into the gray. Now the gray is again ultramarine blue, burnt sienna. And a little bit of the darker gray right here. Paint it along, tuck it in. Just a long, smooth stroke. Sometimes it helps on your brush strokes if you slow down. Don't try to rush through too fast. And I'm just shadow, shadow, highlight, highlight. how I'm turning the handle. And get back into my darker gray color. And then some very dark. Nice dark gray. And just load some up on the tip so it's got a nice load so I can get this down here smoothly. Brush that back. Brush that shadow back. I'm wanting a shadow all through here. And then I'm going to take a little bit of my phthalo blue and my burnt sienna, and I'm going to make my darkest shadow color. And I'm going to come underneath the teapot a little bit. Bring some of that gray into my gray area. Get a lighter gray. Not completely light, just lighter. We see just a hint of a highlight under that teapot. Now I'm going to come and get a little of my glazing liquid and my white together. And I'm going to come along the top. A little bit of my light color. There's a bit of a little kind of back highlight here. I have a middle gray there. Make sure my knob is nice. And a little bit darker right here. That darker line about the halfway point back. Got a little boo-boo. Whenever you have a little boo-boo, you just pick your boo-boo up. That's a nice beginning to our little teapot now. Okay, so then we're going to come back over to our teacup in the next step. Let's dry everything though.
Yeah, dry it all.
I like to keep it dry so I don't drag. Otherwise I have paint all on the side of my hands and it starts to stick to the thing and it's just not.
Totally makes sense. Yeah, don't want to have that happen. So I'm gonna go up here. Oh my goodness, you guys have been just chatting up here. It's been really nice seeing everybody. And if you haven't had a chance to join us in a live stream, I highly suggest it. It's a really good chance to meet people of like heart and like mind who like to be together in a painting environment and hang out and a lot of times we'll be watching the video first much more than painting. But, you get those mirror neurons firing and all that kind of stuff. And then you paint it the second time you watch it.
And that's when it all comes together. Uh-oh. I don't see my little 1/4-inch angle.
A 1/4-inch angle.
There it is. There's one. I got one. So this is a 1/4-inch angle. I like to use that same type of brush as I'm working through here. I'll go ahead and get into my lighter color, a little glazing liquid. Come into my little teacup and start to paint a more finished looking little surface. And then get a little bit of my gray. Very carefully blend that in. The gray is that burnt sienna and that ultramarine blue. A little middle gray. And get a little bit of my shadow color. Very carefully shade the inside of my teacup. And then I get a lighter color, just add more white to it. Come back the other way. Now I'm not using any white yet. Just go back and forth, making a nice little shaded transition on that. Let's bring some white over here. Get a little more burnt sienna in it. Get a little bit of our gray, which again is our phthalo blue and burnt sienna. A little bit of white. Try to get this shaped correctly down here. And I'm going to add a little more white to everything, and I'll come in a little more white to everything. I'm in a couple places. Just a little bit. A little bit of gray for the inside. my light color, and I'm going to come to the top of my teacup handle, using the corner of my brush to paint this. And then I'm going to get a little of my gray involved. And then a little bit of shadow down that handle. Gonna get a little of my burnt sienna and phthalo blue together again. Ultramarine blue. That was the wrong blue. Ultramarine blue. Till I get back to my dark, dark gray. It's harder to mix with the smaller brushes, but you can do it. A little bit of a shadow there, just sort of separate those two spaces. A little bit darker there. Maybe a little bit darker there. I'm going to rinse out my little angle brush and get my number 6 round. Go ahead and get some glazing liquid. Come along the top. Oh dear. A water drop was hidden on my brush. That's a problem with all round brushes, and it ran down my brush onto my painting. And come and get a little bit of my highlight color. Go back into my gray. A little bit more white. A little bit more middle gray. And a little bit my white and brown. Kind of improve the highlight right here. into the gray. Just keep kind of highlighting that kind of stuff there. I added another little highlight to the base of the teapot. I moved over on you, John. I added another little highlight right there. All right. That's okay. I'm going to take a little bit of my gray.
Jumped me. You jumped on me.
I jumped on you. And I'm going to soften this little shadow right here. And soften this little shadow right here too. Okay, let's try everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, boo boo.
Do a thorough drying.
Let's go to the park and dry the painting.
So yeah, we'll have to dry the painting thoroughly, and I'll go over here and take a quick look in the chat and see how you guys are doing. Looking pretty awesome here. I appreciate all you guys being here. Yep, we got the yep, there's some links to the brushes. We have a store. If you want to buy any of these supplies, we carry them. So you can go to theartsherpa.com and find them there. You can also find links to things like the traceables and all that stuff that you might use. It's all there, hiding in the description down below.
In the description down below. All right, I'm going to grab a 1/2 inch angle again. No, 3/4 inch angle. No, 1/2 inch. Pick a brush. I need to pick a brush. All right, I'm going to grab a little bit of my white over here and some of my phthalo blue. Grab some of my blue and black and work it in. There we go. And we're going to add a lot of white. I'm going to come here, and I may have to move my brush on an angle so I don't lean on John. A sort of dry brush over. A little bit darker. Just a little more blue than last time.
Mm-hmm.
Get a lot more white into it. Just highlighting. I'm going to have to get into the shadows, but I just want to create a ground that's a little bit more finished looking. I'm also going to get a little bit of dark right here on my, that was just the blue and black. Come underneath here. Brush that out. A little bit of the blue and black.
Hmm.
Mm. I'll dry brush it so that it's sort of blended. I'm going to have flowers and everything over here, so it's okay to have the shadow going across.
Mm-hmm.
Even a little bit forward because we're going to be putting these flowers in. Dry brushy.
Just dry brush it. Looks very, very nice though.
It's a little bit of a shadow underneath. Now I'm going to, oh gosh, I just used my shirt.
It's okay.
That's how you know you're in the painting zone. You use your shirt. You can use my shirt. And get a little more brown and white together. Some glazing liquid. And come here. Brush that down. A little bit more of that there. A little more white, but not pure white because we need to leave room for the pure white. Go ahead and get a little bit of this here. I'm going to very carefully brush it around the teacup. Get into my gray. A little more gray.
Mm-hmm.
Come up to the top of the handle. The bottom of the handle just with a little bit of highlight. Just a little bit here. Get a little my little middle gray and kind of come up to my knob. There we go. Okie dokie. So when I have form and shape the way that I like it,
The form and the shape.
form and the shape the way that I like it, I'm going to get a little of my black and blue from underneath this with a very dark shadow. Now I'm going to grab some white. Little glazing liquid just so that it flows better. When you've been painting for a while, your paint can start to get gummy or dry.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just nice to have stuff. I'm going to add a little reflection right there. A little friend next to it. Coming down a little teapot handle, a little reflection. A little bit up here. A little bit right there. A little bit here. A little bit there. A little bit there. So just so we have some reflection, some shape. I might knock back that one reflection just a little bit for the teacup. I still want it there. A little one up the spout. You can always come in with a gray and kind of a little bit of white. Tip of the teapot.
Mm-hmm.
And a little bit of white. Okay. Let's dry everything.
That seems pretty good.
Dry, dry, dry. Dry, dry, dry. Dry, 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 dry.
I'm gonna make a quick adjustment on this camera over here because I was noticing. I think it got bumped. So I'm gonna go up here and you guys can watch me do my thing. I'm gonna go that's 1, 2, 3. I think it's this one. Oh, there it goes. Not sure what happened. I must have bumped it earlier. Sorry about that. I was probably trying to move one of the other cameras and accidentally did that one. That can happen. So sorry about that. What will we do? Oh, we're watching paint dry. And then we're not anymore. Now we're on to the next step.
Next step. I'm going to rinse out my 1/2-inch angle brush very, very thoroughly. This is going to need a good clean after the painting session. And you'll know that because you can see paint up into the ferrule. All right, so I have to clean that when I get out all the way up into that to get the color out. Now I'm going to take a little bit of my burnt sienna and my phthalo green together. And grab a little bit of my yellow. Make some little leaf shapes. So this gives me a nice little leaf going back.
Mm-hmm.
That's got to kind of dry. Keep this aside here. I'm going to grab a little bit of my burnt sienna and my Mars black. On my number 6 round, grab some glazing liquid so it's got nice flow. I'm going to come from this far side. Make little notches. Let's curve this up there. Little notches. I'm going to make a little bit of orange with my yellow and red. A little more yellow. And get some of my green into it. Add a little bit of that color. Just so that there's some leaf dimensionality to start with. All right.
You can see that dimensionality there. It's really thick.
Yeah, it's super thick. Grab a little bit of my brown. I'm going to add some little leaves. Get a little bit of my green in it, a little bit of my yellow in it. Little leaf there. A little bit up there. A little bit there. So once that's in, I want to rinse, 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 rinse. Rinse, rinse.
Rinse?
Rinse. Dry, dry, dry.
Okay.
Dry, dry, dry. And if we have any questions, we'll answer them when I come back.
Sounds good.
Sounds great.
So you heard Miss Cinnamon. Any questions you have, you can put them in there. I'll ask yours, Dizzle Swick, in a minute. And we'll have a little break and have some questions and think about the tea or coffee. It could be coffee. Think, coffee. Gotta think about the coffees. That's, my brain just hit a stopping point. It thought coffee and then didn't go past that thought. That was it. It just said, no, we're just gonna stay on this thought now. Just this one. And I'm gonna dwell here for a moment so that we can. I had a thought.
What was your thought?
That was a coffee thought.
Oh, well, we're close to done.
I know.
So we can coffee after. Do we have any questions? Well, I
Oh, yes,
sip
there was.
my mango aloe vera drink.
Do you ever do tutorials using India ink?
No.
Not a common thing.
No, I don't. India ink is awesome. What you want are some of the pen dip artists or the one I can think of off the top of my head, the two I can think of that are good off the top of my head are Peter Draws, super entertaining, great about all of that. Actually, I'm going to say three. Then there is Proco. This is fantastic if you want to learn how to draw and you want to know more about art in a more traditional kind of sense. Fantastic. I've never seen anything over there where I was like, that's crazy. What are they talking about? I'm usually like, oh, that's very interesting. I like how you put that. So Proco, Proko, Peter Draws, and then of course the Frugal Crafter, because the Frugal Crafter reviews art materials and is constantly doing different stuff. And so she not just tells you how to do the tutorial, but she also reviews the art material she used for the tutorial. So the Frugal Crafter, that's Lindsay. So those are the people I know to recommend for India ink.
That seems
That I
pretty
think
good.
I can think of others, but I just can't remember their name right now. I enjoy also just relaxing and watching like even a music art tutorial sometimes, just playing through. Just I enjoy it as well. So those are who I can think of at the top of my head.
Huh. Those are good. So we'll go back to our stepping again.
Back
There's
to our
our
stepping.
step.
Back to our step. Was that our only question?
Yes, there's many comments on that though.
Oh, okay, cool. All right, so I'm gonna come here and I'm gonna mix a little of my Cad Red to my quinacridone magenta. I'm gonna wipe that off on my towel because I don't want very much in there.
There was another question.
Mm.
Are you still thinking about doing the beginner's course? Missed that.
I'm absolutely still doing the beginner's course. So there is something on the horizon that's coming. That's really cool. So I didn't know if I wanted to fold it into that, but I want to reboot the beginner's course because I like to have a book to go with it. And I want one that's maybe, so like the first one is going to stand because it's got the 7 hours of introductory education, but that's a lot for some people to do 7 hours of introductory and then 10 paintings. And I get that that's not going to fit into everybody's life, even though I think it is a brilliant course. So I'm going to take the 7 hours and kind of truncate it down into maybe more distilled information and then do the painting course that goes with it. So it'll be like kind of like the beginner acrylic course, like, but more like jump in, jump. I did a 20-minute everything you need to know about acrylic once, and it's been like one of my more popular ones. It really does cover what you need to know as a beginner, like stuff everybody forgets to tell you. And I had done it actually for pinners. I'm going to add a little pink to that. Little pink to this color here. Let me go a little different pinks because I'm crazy like that. And I'm going to take this angle brush and I'm going to paint little flowers in. So yes, the basic, my long-winded answer is yes. I tend to use the corner of my brush to get these in. What's nice about the reference is it reminds me to face my flowers in different directions. Get a little more white in that. Just paint little petals in. Tend to do like little clusters of little 4 petals. I might lose my little nub there. Maybe get a little more pink on that one and have one of those petals be a little more pink. A nice little start. Let's come down here and do a similar thing. Get a little blue into that. Kind of gray it a bit, if you can see.
Yeah.
Another one here. Now I want to get a little bit of my quinacridone and my cad red. Smidge of blue. I'm going to come here and put some centers in those flowers. Okay, so let's dry everything. And when we come back, I'll show you what you do next.
Dry, dry,
Dry, dry, dry,
dry.
dry. Dry, 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 dry.
Dry, 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 as she says. It's just a super drying moment. And after we're done drying, I'm sure we will be very close to being complete in our journey. So we'll have to see here for a second. Hold on a second. I think I'm going to sneeze. Okay, yep. Just a little one. That's okay. So we'll wait for her to. And if you have to sneeze, you don't have to mute because we can't hear you. So it's quite alright. You can just go right ahead and sneeze away. We won't know. But, you know, involuntary bodily responses aside, I think we can continue painting.
Hmm. What?
I was just filling the space with interesting thoughts.
Interesting thoughts? Did you have some interesting thoughts?
I don't know. Are we doing a whole nother step or is this?
Oh, we're going to do a whole nother step.
Okay, just
Another
make sure.
layer on these to do. All right, so I'm going to take a little bit more of my yellow and work it into my green color from earlier. This was my burnt sienna, my phthalo green, and my cad yellow. And I want to make a kind of brighter color. I'm going to come here and pull in a couple little bits. Oh, sorry, wrong color there. I'm going to make sure that I've got a little bit of yellow there. Maybe I'll put some down there. That looks super nice. I'm going to take a little bit of my yellow over to my brown and black.
Mm-hmm.
Burnt sienna until I get kind of a lighter color, and I'm going to come into my little branch here. And work the top of that. Just a little bit more color to it, so it's not just one-dimensional.
Sure.
I'm going to take a little of my white. I'm going to come here and
Ooh, those are nice.
highlight some petals. Just making them just a little more multi-dimensional.
Yeah.
So let some of them tuck a little more and another little layer. Also brightens them up.
Yeah.
I leave some of them still just pink. I take a little bit of my yellow. Tapping over the little red spots so that they have a little yellow mixed into them too. I don't cover them completely. It just lets it be a little more, you know. And grab a little bit more of my yellow, my green. A little bit on the branch there. Some highlights there. When you're happy with everything, and that's just really up to you for when you feel satisfied. I'm going to take a number 0. Go ahead and get some yellow green. And come here and add a little signature. So today is just a nice light study of a still life.
Yeah, very nice.
Just chill, just relaxing, just harmonious. For those of you that want to know where I get my references from Adobe Stock and Shutterstock, so the photographers are absolutely paid.
Yeah. It's just going to make you big.
Just make me big.
Oh, I'm trying to get my little... And then, nope, not that one. See, I got too many buttons.
Too many buttons.
So that I can go... Boop,
Woo!
boop, boop. There we go.
All right, well, this was a fun day.
Very.
Fun light day. So I'm actually going to put this painting maybe in the definitely just general 2.5 rank, unless the drawing was really challenging, because I think it's really more in that space. We didn't get too intense about it, and we were very loose and expressive, so I feel like it should be pretty friendly. But you know what? You tell me.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, it's more important what you think, so you tell me what your experience is and what you think in the comments, and I read my comments all the time, and that helps me change my classes and think about what kind of stuff I want to teach and the way I want to teach it and how I pick everything. So
yeah,
I'd love to hear from you. Since we have Facebook back, well, we've always had the groups. I never let the groups have anything happen to them. I've got a group on Facebook, the Art Sherpa Official. That's different than the Art Sherpa page, which was the one that was hacked on Facebook, but it's not anymore. And so definitely go refollow the page if you had to block or unfollow it, and then head over to the group and share your version of the Teapot and Teacup in group, because I'd love to see how it came out. It's always fascinating to me. If you're like, oh, I don't do Facebook because it's a wild frontier of just mayhem and memes, and I just can't. That is totally okay, and I totally respect that. I'm also on Instagram and on Pinterest and even on TikTok, because I was there since Musically, so my data was already gone. Don't join it. Don't join it. Just nothing I have over there is that, like, where you've got to stop everything and join that. If you're already over there and your data's already out in the world, by all means follow me. We're in the same boat. But those are places. I'm like everywhere that I have social media. You hashtag the Art Sherpa and you can find me and share your paintings with me. And I just love to see what you guys do. Oftentimes you guys like blow my mind and knock it out of the park. And I like yours even better than I like mine.
Yeah.
So it's always exciting to see what you guys do.
I got something. Before we go, I wanted to say thank you to Trish and CB, who have joined Emoji Club today, and a big thank you to Angela for giving us a wonderful little sticker donation there. We really appreciate it. Thank you for the
stickers and joining Emoji Club. Emojis, throw up your custom emojis, guys. Whatever your favorite one is, throw it up, because I love Emoji Club. I make those emojis, and they're custom for just this channel. I think it's really the goofiest and strangely coolest thing that we do in membership. It's just the silliest thing we do in membership, and I love it. And they make it really hard. Like, I think I have to have 50 more members to get another new emoji, but we have a lot of emojis.
Yeah.
We have a lot. And, you know, it's $2 a month, so it's not too terrible. It's kind of like a chill sort of, it's an homage to $2. I want my $2. If you guys get that reference, that's where that joke come from. Don't forget to sign up for the text, because, you know, you don't always get the notification from YouTube. I can't tell you how many times people write me and they're like, did you quit painting? And I'll have done like 100 paintings from the last time they saw me do a painting. That's how few the notifications can come through. So our text notification system is a really great way to sign up with us. Do you have a graphic to throw up? I might even have a graphic so you can see the text notification, so you can easier sign up, because right now I'm expecting you to be psychic to know where the number is. And
I don't have it up here.
You
Nope.
don't have it up here?
No, I don't have a graphic.
Do you know what the number is?
It is 734-808-0828. And you just send the message join to it.
Yeah. And the mods probably can throw some stuff up
Yep,
here
they
if you're
did.
in the live and you can see it in the live chat. And
They're
so
there.
that's a good way. Also go by the website and sign up for the newsletter. I send out newsletters to let you guys know what I'm up to and when I'm up to it. And it's a useful resource. This Saturday, I want you guys to come by and hear all about our drama. It should be a fun story time kind of weekend. And then, or maybe this Saturday was I think I might actually have a tree this Saturday. What day
Okay.
is today?
Today is Tuesday?
No, then Saturday is the drama class. Thursday, I have a Christmas tree. I'm so busy. Thursday, there's a Christmas tree that we're painting together in the forest.
Yep.
And then we'll get back to like landscapes and stuff like that for a little bit of while. But those are all, whenever you see the holiday ones come up, those are part of our Winter Wonder series. And I try to get 12 of those in every year that are just new, fresh, fun snowmen and Santas and winter themed paintings. But we'll get back to landscapes and stuff like that here pretty imminently, which is like my fave.
Mhm.
Other than that, guys, be good to yourselves. Be good to each other. And I want to see you and Easel really soon. Bye bye.